Excited to announce my husband and child went to the store so I can do this in the living room instead of sitting next to my closet. Here's part 7 of the worst story I've ever read. And if you think I was mad in the last video, OP is feeling unfairly judged by the hospital staff because they're judging her for endangering her child. The doctor finally turned off the monitor and said, "I'm sorry, your baby has passed." As much as I'd been denying it, pushing the thought out each time it crept up, I knew the moment in the tub that something was seriously wrong. The moment the cord slipped out, when I became so terrifyingly calm, I knew my baby was gone. But hearing those words, not hearing a heartbeat, broke that calm. I shattered, I screamed, I wailed. One nurse said a condolence, and one nurse held and stroked my hand. I have sympathy and empathy for this woman to a point. I do not want any parent to lose a child. I cannot grasp the pain of having a child die right before birth. I have had a miscarriage in the past when I was 18 years old, and that was so upsetting to me that to this day, more than 20 years later, it still upsets me to think about. I have 2 living children, and I was worried the whole time I was pregnant. But I didn't put them in danger when I was pregnant. I did everything I could to keep them safe. So my sympathy and my empathy for this woman who just lost a child only goes so far, and is reserved mostly for the baby. Her husband walks in. He asked what was happening, and I was the one who told him our baby had died. There are no words to describe that moment, that life-altering moment when your entire world is turned upside down. Then we have these very common questions that happen with the loss of a child. Do I say I have 1 child or 2? Does my daughter still have a sister? What do I tell her? Should she still see her sibling, hold her sibling? I'm not going to judge on that. I am going to judge this flowery fucking prose that makes me think and hope that this is a troll post, because who writes like this? I guess when they checked earlier, I was 7 centimeters dilated. Nothing mattered to me. After a while, they wanted to induce me, worried about infection because my white blood cells were elevated. They allowed me to shower before starting Pitocin. Ma'am, you were about to have an emergency C-section. She takes a shower. She's obviously very upset. They put me on monitors, said I was having strong contractions, but I didn't feel them. I was numb. I wanted to be in the shower, but now that the Pitocin had started, they couldn't let me get up. I hated them. I hated this place. Really? You hated the hospital staff that is trying to save your life now that your baby's is gone? Is this projection, ma'am? Because it sounds like projection to me. I'm going to keep going. Okay, here's part 8, and I have to promise you, I'm not going to finish this story right now because I have work in 14 minutes. I'm hoping I can do this very quickly. I will be back tonight, I promise, even though it's Valentine's Day and I want to heavily make out with my husband. When we last left off, they had started OP on Pitocin so that she could deliver her baby who had passed away in her womb. She's feeling a lot of emotion. She was able to take a shower. She wants to still be in the shower. She hates the hospital and hates the people working. She thinks that they are disrespecting her and mistreating her. And I have a lot to say about that, which I'll probably do when I'm at the end of all of these screenshots. You can pause to read these. Go ahead. When I was cutting myself in high school, so obviously that's upsetting. And I am not judging her on that. We all have had issues. I used to joke with husband that I could handle physical pain. It was the emotional pain that was unbearable. In this moment, I guess it was still a little true, but despite being in active labor, despite the Pitocin coursing through me, this was beautiful. This was a gift. I have mentioned before that there is this sort of sanitation and strange beauty from Free Brothers and Wild Brothers thrown upon the death of a child. I don't know if it's a coping mechanism, and I don't know if it's some sort of weird denial thing, but I think it's gross. It's like a toxic positivity that I just do not understand. It's disgusting. And I know I'm being very mean here. And honestly, I'm just going to own that. The intensity was strong, so strong. But I rode those waves like the birthing goddess I was prepared to be. So much to say about this language. So much to say. 3 minutes is truly not enough. Keeping my body so still, I breathe through them, humming, moaning, Only when someone touched me or spoke did I lose focus and the intensity shift to painful. I demanded not to be touched and to be left alone, and the nurses left. I guess because I was so calm and quiet, they didn't realize I was on the verge of pushing. When it was just husband and me, I got on the ground and squatted. All I could whisper was, I want this to be over, I want to be done. But I wasn't talking about the waves and labor. I was talking about the new reality of my life. I wanted this new chapter in my life to be done. I'm going to stop here because I have students, but I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound not nice. But this chapter of your life is never going to be done. You were negligent and irresponsible, and now your child is dead. And that's never going to go away. It's never going to go away. That child is always going to be dead. And it's your fault. And I know that's horrible to say, but truth sucks sometimes. This keeps going, and I will be back. So just hang tight. I need to go start dinner because it is Valentine's Day. But I wanted to say very, very quickly, and I'll get into this a little bit more later, but this is not a troll. I managed to find this person. I managed to look into them pretty extensively. I found their partner that they talk about. It's not a husband, it's just a partner. Not that that means anything. I found pictures of their older daughter. I found where they live. It was not hard to find. This was not somebody who used an anonymous option for this group post. In fact, they posted it several years ago, so that wasn't even an option back then. This is not a troll. It's not. It might be exaggerated. It might be a little histrionic, but this all happened. So, I'm not going to blow up their spot. I'm not going to post their private information or anything like that. I would never do that. So you'll have to just believe me, and I know you don't necessarily have to because I'm a complete stranger. I have no reason to lie. I did not feel like this was a troll because I have read so many of these stories at this point that unfortunately these things are legitimate. People like to write very romantically about things. People like to be very flowerful with their writing. It's not a troll. It's not, in the sense that these are real people with public profiles, not a lot of information, but there's even a support group that the mother made for people who had lost their children due to these instances of cord prolapse and stuff. A whole ass group with hundreds of people in it. So if it is a troll, it's an incredibly elaborate and very bold one, because she is using her actual name, her actual legal name, easy to look up. It's not a troll. I don't think it's a troll.